Hollywood is one of the most recognizable names on Earth. A symbol of fame, illusion, power, and dreams. But in the 1800s, Hollywood was none of that.
In fact, for most of the 19th century, this land was considered useless. No natural harbor, no reliable river, unstable soil, extreme droughts. Many settlers believed that anyone who stayed here for too long was either desperate or foolish. This is the story of Hollywood before it became an idea, before architecture, before culture, before cinema. This is Hollywood when it was only land and struggle. Long before maps labeled this area Hollywood, it was part of a wide and irregular landscape known as the Cahuenga Valley, northwest of a small settlement called Los Angeles. For thousands of years, the land was used by the Tongva people, one of the largest indigenous groups in Southern California. What is important, and rarely mentioned, is that the Tongva did not build dense permanent cities here. This was not because they lacked knowledge or skill. It was because the land itself was unreliable. Rainfall was unpredictable. Streams dried up without warning. The soil could support life, but not consistently. The Tongva treated the area as transitional land, a place to pass through, hunt, gather plants, and move on. Even they understood that Hollywood was not meant to grow. When Spain colonized California in the late 1700s, it did so strategically. Spanish missions were built near stable water sources, fertile valleys, trade routes. Hollywood had none of these. As a result, the area was largely ignored. Instead of becoming a mission center or town, Hollywood existed in the shadows, a buffer zone between more valuable regions. Architecture during this period was almost non-existent. No stone buildings, no plazas, no permanent civic structures. Any structures were temporary, wooden shelters, simple adobe huts, livestock enclosures. Nothing was built to last, because nobody expected to stay. After Mexico gained independence from Spain, land ownership changed. Large estates called ranchos were created, often covering tens of thousands of acres. Hollywood became part of this rancho system. Life here revolved around cattle grazing, leather and tallow production, minimal agriculture. The economy was brutally simple. No craftsmanship industry, no trade hubs, no reason to build real towns. Architecturally, the rancho buildings followed a strict logic. Low adobe walls, thick roofs for heat insulation, small windows, enclosed courtyards. Beauty was irrelevant. Efficiency was everything. These structures were designed to survive the sun, not history. One of the most defining and disturbing features of the Hollywood area was natural asphalt. Tar seeped up from the ground constantly. Animals wandered in and became trapped. Some died slowly, over days. The smell of decaying bodies mixed with crude oil hung in the air. Local ranchers avoided building too close to these areas, but could never fully escape them. Hollywood, to many early settlers, smelled like death. This was not land that inspired hope. It inspired caution. One of the least discussed reasons Hollywood failed for so long was water, not the lack of it, but the impossibility of controlling it. There was no reliable river running through Hollywood. Rain came unpredictably. Groundwater was deep and difficult to access. Early settlers depended on shallow wells, seasonal streams, rain collection. During dry years, wells collapsed. Entire households abandoned their homes overnight. This meant something crucial. Hollywood could not support density. No dense population. No real streets. No urban life. It remained scattered by necessity. Another rarely mentioned detail. Hollywood was geographically awkward. To the south, Los Angeles. To the north, hills and mountains. To the west, undeveloped land. To the east, more ranch territory. The main access route, the Cahuenga Pass, was dangerous and unreliable. In the 1800s, this pass was narrow, unpaved, prone to landslides. Travel through it could take hours or fail entirely. As a result, merchants avoided the area. Supply routes were limited. Hollywood remained isolated. Isolation killed growth. Hollywood had no real authority structure, no courthouse, no sheriff's office, no administrative center. Disputes were handled informally, often through force, intimidation, or reputation. This created a strange social dynamic. People lived close, but without community. No town square, no shared identity, no civic life. Hollywood was not a town. It was a collection of people occupying land. Another overlooked factor was fire. Dry vegetation, wooden buildings, strong winds. One spark could erase everything. There are records of entire homesteads disappearing overnight. This discouraged permanent construction, architectural ambition, investment. Why build something beautiful? If it could burn in hours, Hollywood became a place where people ended up, not where they aimed to go. Land was cheap because others had failed. Returns were low. Conditions were harsh. This attracted people escaping debt, people avoiding law enforcement, people who had failed elsewhere. Hollywood became socially invisible, and invisibility became its defining trait. Because people rarely stayed long, Hollywood had no generational memory. Few families passed land to children. Few buildings lasted decades. Few traditions formed. The land constantly reset itself. This made Hollywood uniquely open to reinvention. It had no past to protect. Ironically, all these failures created the conditions for the future. Cheap land, no strong institutions, no preserved identity. When cinema arrived decades later, there was nothing to resist it. Hollywood had learned how to disappear, and that made it easy to rewrite. After California became part of the United States, American settlers arrived with expectations. They believed they could farm the land, build communities, turn Hollywood into a productive settlement. Most of them failed. Why? Because Hollywood lacked infrastructure. There were no paved roads, no rail connections, no irrigation systems. Farming depended entirely on weather. Some families lost everything within a few seasons. Letters from settlers described Hollywood as beautiful from a distance, cruel up close. By the 1860s and 1870s, many simply left. The people who remained in Hollywood were not dreamers. They were failed farmers with nowhere else to go, former soldiers unable to afford city life, indigenous laborers displaced from their land, migrants trapped by poverty. This shaped the social character of early Hollywood. There was no elite class, no cultural institutions, no political center, just survival. A day in Hollywood in the 1800s began before sunrise. Water had to be carried manually. Food preparation took hours. Work never truly ended. Men spent most of their time tending livestock, repairing fences, digging wells. Women worked constantly, cooking, sewing, cleaning, preserving food. Children were labor, not dependents. There was no concept of leisure. Time moved slowly, but labor consumed it completely. Hollywood's environment destroyed clothing quickly. Dust, heat, and manual labor meant garments wore out fast. As a result, clothes were patched repeatedly. Fabrics were heavy and coarse. Colors were dark to hide stains. Men wore canvas trousers, loose cotton shirts, wide brim hats, leather boots repaired endlessly. Women wore long-sleeve dresses, layered skirts, aprons at all times. Fashion was meaningless. Clothing existed only to protect the body. One of the reasons Hollywood has so little preserved 19th century architecture is simple. Nothing was meant to last. Buildings were cheap, temporary, easily abandoned. Wood warped, adobe cracked. Maintenance was rare. There were no churches, no schools, no civic halls worth preserving. Hollywood had no architectural identity because it had no future. Hollywood was quiet, unnaturally quiet. No crowds, no markets, no public gatherings. Some settlers wrote about mental strain, loneliness, depression, loss of motivation. This was not frontier excitement. It was isolation. Hollywood did not attract dreamers. It destroyed them. Only those who accepted harsh reality stayed. And decades later, that same land will be chosen to manufacture illusion on an industrial scale. Cinema did not rise here because Hollywood was inspiring. It rose here because the land was cheap, empty, ignored, and ready to be rewritten. Hollywood in the 1800s was not special. It was forgotten, and that is exactly why it became everything else.